So this is a pretty crazy story. If you guys remember, recently Nevada State Democratic Party held its elections for its state Democratic Party leadership positions, and the Democratic Socialist of America, who supported Bernie Sanders, pretty much completely got clocked, cleaned everybody's clock, cleaned the corporatist clock. If you guys don't remember, it was former was he Majority Leader, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who had really set up Nevada to really be this big player in the Democratic primary, and he had built his own machine there. His machine has now been dismantled by progressives who have now taken it over, winning virtually every, if not all, leadership positions in the Nevada State Democratic Party. So, literally, progressives, Bernie Sanders progressives, have literally taken over the Nevada State Democratic Party. Remember, Bernie Sanders destroyed in that primary. It was insane. One of the greatest days ever, right? And so what this says, it says North Las Vegas mayor switches from Democrat to Republican. North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee has announced that he is switching his political affiliation from Democrat to Republican, citing a shift towards socialism. North Las Vegas Mayor John Lee has announced that he is switching his political affiliation from Democrat to Republican, citing a shift towards socialism. The mayor of Nevada's third largest city made the announcement Tuesday on Fox and Friends. His campaign website now reflects the switch. In the Democratic Party of Nevada, they had an election recently for leadership, and 4 of the 5 people were card-carrying members of the Socialistic Party. Socialistic Party? It's not the party that I grew up with 25 years ago in this environment, and it's not the party that I can stand with anymore. It says Lee has been mentioned as a possible candidate for governor of Nevada in 2022. He told the newspaper last week that he had been approached by different people in both parties to consider switching to the Republican Party and running as a moderate. It says Lee, who served in Nevada Assembly and State Senate, was defeated by Democrat Patricia Spearman in 2012. He won election as mayor the following year. So this is a guy, it's crazy that you could just switch to Republican and, get away with it in these times. I mean, you're talking about the briefly pro-Trump, post-Trump times. Trump did almost win the election. He did get close. You only needed really 100,000 votes to flip in order for him to win. It's very briefly post, Trump at this point. They haven't fully even gotten close to getting rid of all the Trump elements. So the fact that you could just switch like that, just like that, is pretty crazy to me, given the context and the circumstances of the Republican Party. But if you could just switch from the Democratic Party, again, remember, you're talking about, social democrats in the party, of course, and you're just down to switch to the Republican Party. I mean, you were never really a quote-unquote Democrat to begin with, or you're what we don't want the Democrats to be, which is literally just a Republican. If you can just switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party because Bernie Sanders supporters won over the party and you're pissed, what does that say about the Democratic Party? What does that say about it if you can just switch like that to being a Republican? In literally the worst time, you're talking about just barely in the pro-Trump era, which is pretty insane to me. But really happy to see that the Nevada State Democratic Party has been essentially entirely seized by Bernie Sanders supporting progressives. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, this douchebag decides to switch parties. But hey, man, see you later.